Hello everyone, I'm Hossein and in this video I'm going to talk about generics. We are already familiar with generics from our previous video, but let's get deeper into it and see how can we define a generic and what are the use cases. Now, to define a generic class, let me write an example to see how to define a generic class and how to use it. Now I will write a public class book. Now I write a public class book item holder. Now to define it as a generic class, we just need to write the generic parameter. To write the generic parameter, we write angle bracket and then give it a name. I like to write it T because the T stands for template. And if I'm going to write anything other than this name, for example, if I'm going to write a value or key or item or anything like that, I prefer to write the T prefix to just know that it's a generic parameter. Now, for continuation, I like writing public void set item T. Let me fix generic parameter here, item. There you go. We just need to write a private T item here. And now this dot item assigned by the item that we received from our parameter in the function set item. So furthermore, we can use this item for any reason that we want. So now we can use this. The point of writing this, now we know how to define a generic class. To write a generic interface, it's the same thing, but we should write the interface here. So to use this, I can write variable holder, now new item holder, and in here I can write book or any other class here. So we can write a holder, the set item, and now writing new book. Well, the item is set as a book, and you can see that we are interacting with this item in a very generic way. As we talked previously, one of the problems that generics are here to solve is to avoid boxing and unboxing. How does it work? Let me show you. Now assume that this one, item holder, was a list. What could it do? We could add a new item to it and save it here. It's an incomplete list, right? Well, I don't want to implement the list completely. I just want you to get to the point, to get the gist out of it. So I like to write it. So now let's write list here. And now we can write add a new book. What does it do? Instead of storing the object here, there are more things that you can do with generics. Now let me write here the shape and this list. Let me write it to renderer. Now what we do here, we draw shapes. Draw, and then the T item, let me write it as a shape, and in here console the right line. Now we can simply pass a book here and say, now let me change this here, renderer, the book can come to here, and now draw. We can write a book here. Now as you can see, we are trying to draw the book, which that's not what it meant to use a renderer for. What we expect from the renderer is to draw the shapes, not the book. So for that, we can come to here and write some constraints. Writing with where t colon shape, which means whatever the t is, it should be derived from the shape. So now we can see that we cannot use the book. We shall change it to the objects that are derived from the shape or the shape object. So I write the shape here. In here I have to write new shape. Now things are working, but there's a problem. Not all shapes are drawable. But now there's another problem. Probably not all shapes are drawable. So we can just write here as an interface and write an I drawable and add another constraint here which says, well, it should be also drawable. The t shall be the shape and also drawable to be able to be drawed. Void draw. And that's it. If I add this interface to my shape class, things will get working again. Let me write it, new. Let me write it, colon, I drawable. And now let's implement this. Now it's working. Another thing about this constraint is that you can define that they shall be a class or they shall be a struct, a value type. Which is really very handy. Another thing is that you can also specify that this is always available for those types that does have a default constructor by writing new parentheses. Now let's see. If I change here to the public, it's working now. But if I write int a, well, that's not gonna work anymore because of this constraint. So why should you add this constraint? Well, there are times that you want to new from the shape. You want to create a new object from this type. For example here, where new shape, new t. It could not be possible to achieve this without this constraint because it was not declared that this type can actually do this. You can also put this constraint not only on the classes but also on the functions. The example is here that we can add this here, and we shall add the angle brackets in front of our method name, and then the where t colon shape and I drawable. What you cannot do here, so once we are defining a method with a generic parameter, our item member of this class does no longer understand what is the t because the t is not defined in front of our class name. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you liked this video and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you will be notified once I publish my next video. Thank you.